Boro, can you play some music or something?
Dude, is the music not
No,
playing? Are
I
you
don't hear
kidding
any
me?
music. I don't hear any music.
Oh my
Negative,
god!
no
I
music.
bet the listeners probably heard it, and now it's too late. Now we're sitting in silence. 'Cause I can't turn it back on. Once you unmute, you can't turn the starting Twitter Space music back on.
Damn, I was.
Unless you want to sing for us.
I'm not singing unless we got a singer on stage.
Drop
I
some
mean,
bars for us, Slum. Come on.
Man, I don't got. I gotta think back to my younger years of being an incredible ass rapper. I got videos on.
maybe there's someone coming up on stage right now that could sing.
Or somebody could play something. Like, anybody got a Bluetooth speaker right now? Play it off the laptop.
Drew, you got anything? Ty, TJ Ty.
Just play it off.
None of you guys have any.
Play it off your speakers.
I think I got one, but I'm not a good DJ.
That's fine.
Well, we got Sesh on here. Maybe Sesh can drop some bars for us.
Let's go. Yo, Shib, let's play the SquidGrow rap song.
All right, hang on. Let me fire up the MacBook. Hang on 1 second. Let me get this.
Yo, Boro, you don't know this, but they got this guy. I honestly don't remember his name, but he's fucking amazing.
Sesh.
Yes. He's fucking amazing. His production quality is insane. His music videos are fucking top notch, bro. Like, we got to play one of those.
All right, I got one right here. Hang on. Here we go.
All right, here we go.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is SquidGrow. Sesh is my name now. The only place in space that is safe now. All these other coins getting chased out. Big waves, got your face down. Bear market, blow your brains out. But we still standing on takedown. Yeah, the child swings, but it's no playground. Ain't no funny shit on the side like a fake clown. And we outside all the time like a stakeout. But you gotta be smart, that's why I hold blue chips. Always on guard, stay sharp, no Q-tip. Anybody fighting on the click, I refute it. Squid never snitch, stick together, no glue stick. Ship got a Billy, I'm booking the jet. I won't be silly though, I just invest. Come through your city whenever, no stress. You're in the new year while I'm in the next. Started in B&B, now we on F. This ain't no get rich quick, it's built to protect. The name is ridiculous, yes I admit, but it's not what you know, it's who can you impress. Only two ways to make it, you're either born blessed or love what you do, and I saw you obsessed. And the way things are going at Squid, I can bet we go past the Billy, I put that on a set. Yeah, I'm a serial killer. NFT DC's Mike Miller. Smooth criminal, Mike Jack Thriller. Tell me who you know doing shit bigger. Roadmap looking like an endless lane. SquidGrow, here to make tremendous gains. SquidGrow, nothing can prevent the change. With ships host sitting front and center stage. Who has the balls to launch at a bear market? Who? And still hit specific targets. Who has the balls to walk on the red carpet? Me. But you gotta huddle through the darkness. The hardest part is suffering through the garbage. You gotta have heart, stay sharp regardless. Don't let your guard down, strap into your harness. Cause when the ball's back, I'm Tony Stark and Jarvis. And you don't wanna be the guy who sold at a loss. Crying on TikTok, wishing you never stopped. Buying the dip quick, trying what Chip did. Coming back in a year and saying I'm rich beyond. But this ain't no Chappelle. Tell me when a SquidGrow's going on sale. I almost got enough that could make me a whale. And if I get a rare, I'm never going to sell. Yeah, I used to wish for days finding me a project like Shiba or the early days of Doge and no hate, but I'm never mentioning a meme coin that is not the same legal reach as the D-boys. Or did I mean C-boys? Squid swimming in my wallet like a seahorse. Any lies on us, they will get destroyed. If they got a squid in their name, it's a decoy. And don't forget, you can stake. 23 is the year of the exchange. S-Bridge, yeah, the shit is on the place. So get it right now before it's too late. Cause who's that creeping at my window? Yeah, that's SquidGrow. Who's that creeping at my crypto? Yeah, that's SquidGrow. Who's that creeping at my window? Yeah, that's SquidGrow. Who's that creeping at my crypto? Yeah, that's SquidGrow. Who's that creeping at my window?
He said squid swimming in my wallet like a seahorse. Yo, there's rap songs about tokens and rap songs about coins, and then there's this shit. You know what I mean? Like, bro, this shit is fire, and I don't say that. Like, I come from that background of like music. I don't say that shit lightly. That shit is fire.
Agreed, man, and that's just one of the many songs he's done for us. That's one of the latest. He debuted that the day we launched our ETH bridge. So he's here now. Sesh, you the man. You know, thank you for your support and your litter. I can't speak right now. Your
lyrical ability.
There it is.
Your lyricism.
There it is. That's it, man.
Yeah, no, that's just fire, man. That's just fire for real.
Thanks for picking that up for me, Slim.
But
appreciate that.
yeah, of course. But let's introduce Shibtoshi here to everyone in the spaces. Some of you guys are familiar with him. Some of you guys are not familiar with him. It's really funny because in the song that one of the lyrics in the song that we just heard, Sesh was talking about he wished he got in on the early days of Shib and got in on the early days of Doge, right? So like that's something that me and Shibtoshi have in common. You know what I mean? Like Shibtoshi was one of the early holders that really saw some crazy gains from Shiba Inu coin, and then I saw some crazy gains from Dogecoin, and so that's something that we have in common. And for the people in here that do not know who you are, my friend, please kind of give them a brief introduction of who Shibtoshi is and how Shibtoshi was born.
Yeah, sure thing. So what's going on, everybody? I'm Shibtoshi. I am one of the co-founders of SquidGrow. We launched June 18th of last year. So those that don't know, I started dollar cost averaging into SHIB 5 hours after launch. I'm the guy that's known for investing $8,000 in the SHIB, turned it to $5.7 billion at the top. So I'm that guy. I got into crypto back in 2011 through Bitcoin. Some of my poker buddies were using Bitcoin to actually enter into these online poker games. And that was the first time I actually went down the rabbit hole of crypto. I started doing my research on it. I bought 30 grand of Bitcoin, lost it the following night on the tables, and it was off to the races. So I did fade Doge. I did not get into Doge, unfortunately, although I wish I had, but I did not. But I've been in the crypto space since 2011. My portfolio is pretty substantial. I am a Bitcoin whale. I've been dollar cost averaging on Bitcoin every chance I get. I love these prices. I love this market, but kind of been getting a lot of notoriety. For my SHIB investments. A lot of people have talked about my wallets. One of our supporters, Windio, back in the day, covered my wallet movements. She put a video out about me moving my wallets, splitting them up, and she's now a supporter of us now. So that's kind of come full circle for us. But yeah, I'm that guy.
Yeah. And here's another thing too. There's like this misconception, right? Because I didn't sell the top of Dogecoin, Shibtoshi didn't sell the top of Shib either. But there's this misconception that Shibtoshi's like claim to fame being the fact that he's one of the biggest whales in Shib, that's all he's got. You know what I mean? Like people don't know that he was early on in Bitcoin before that, and he was actually already like a multimillionaire in Bitcoin before Shib even happened. Shib was more of like he was just playing around. Well, you know what I mean? Throwing like
so the story on SHIB is simply this. So one of my good friends, he was a stock investor, and there was a particular day he was bragging about 30% gains on his investments in the stock market, and I was kind of clowning on him. I was like, dude, you got to get into crypto. Like, you can make 30% gains in a day in crypto. And kind of fast forwarding a little bit, he shilled me SHIB. And, I was going to fade it. I'm honest, if I'm being honest. I wasn't planning on investing into it. And as we kind of started talking about it, I found out 7 of our other friends had invested into it. They all put about $1,000 into it. So I thought it'd be hilarious if I held more than them. And, I'm not sure if any of y'all have played whale games with your friends. One of my buddies on here right now, the Huntsman, we do this back and forth quite often. But, we always try to hold a bigger position than one of our friends. And that's what it came down to. I started dollar cost averaging in the SHIB. I bought the pump. I bought the top of it at the first $1 million pump. And as it started crashing back down, I was dollar cost averaging on the way down, and it was extremely upside down for months before we actually started seeing movement. And this was one of the wallets that I had on one of my old iPhone 11 Pros, which was the latest and the greatest at the time. But I upgraded to the 12 when that came out, put that wallet away with that phone, and didn't pay much attention to it. Then I started hearing more about SHIB, and I started looking into it, and I was like, let me fire this damn thing up. And it was pretty remarkable. I started seeing on Twitter, that Elon was responding to tweets about SHIB, started seeing the chart movement, and it just exploded.
That's crazy. That's crazy, man. That's something we can all relate to. Well, if you've been in crypto for at least the last couple years, everyone kind of remembers the run up of Doge, the run up of SHIB, and how they kind of like, went off of each other. But let's open up the floor here. I see Ken Rocket,
Yeah.
one of the
First,
speakers
before
here.
we go to Ken Rocket, honestly, welcome to the stage, Shibtoshi and SquidGrow. Thanks for sponsoring the space. I mean, you guys, you're a legend, dude. I mean, I heard about it back in the day. I remember just seeing like, no way someone had this big of a wallet. It was legendary. And the fact that you didn't sell, I mean, that speaks volumes. It takes a lot of dedication to hold. I mean, so like, I just want to know your mindset. Like, what was your mindset like when that was going
So,
on?
obviously, I was involved in the SHIB community early on, and, everybody kind of started growing together, and it became more like a family. And knowing that you could essentially single-handedly destroy that whole project and the community in a stroke of your finger, that's what you think about. You practice what you preach, and I don't need the money. Also, on top of that, there is a liquidity issue in SHIB. That's why we're so focused on liquidity in my project. But I mean, for bragging purposes, I mean, it was badass. I'm a crypto billionaire. Like that's fucking cool. Pardon my language. But I just, balancing it out. I had some of my early friends start pulling profits, started ripping the chart hard, and I never swayed. And thought, okay, well, I'm going to sell before they sell. I'm going to just let them do their thing. And I have every belief that the price will go back up. The market is extremely down right now. It happens every year. I'm not saying, that I'll hold to the dirt, but, up to this point, I've not pulled any profit on it. And I'm pretty proud of it, to be honest with you. There's many projects that I've held to the dirt. I love the community. I love what they're doing. And, I'm a true supporter. And my actions will show that.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I just want to hold on, WB. I just want to say this, right? Like, I mean, like, you're right. Crypto goes through cycles, and I've seen. I mean, I've been in the space for a little over 6 years now, and I've seen like Dogecoin cycles, right? And I mean, even looking back at history, how many times Dogecoin crashed 90+%, right, before making new all-time highs, and multiple times. I think I counted 7 or 8 drops of like 90% before making new all-time highs. So if history repeats itself, we'll see new all-time highs next cycle.
Yeah, and I truly believe that. The market's down now, but I'm buying SHIB, I'm buying Bitcoin, I'm buying all my favorite altcoins, I'm buying all my favorite blue chips. I'm currently accumulating because I know, if history repeats itself at this point in time right now, this is where you make the most money in crypto. You accumulate at these prices, and then you peel profit when the market goes back up. I live off of Bitcoin, right? I accumulate Bitcoin in the market when the market's low, and I sell it when it goes up. I'm not completely dumping, but I'm selling enough to get me by. If I want to treat myself, I want to take a vacation, if I want to buy a new car, new watch, that's kind of what I get by. How I get by. And then you do it, over time, and you start stacking that money in your bank account, and that's really what it's about. Once I pay tax on that money, it goes to my accounts and never comes back into the crypto market.
So yeah, let's
Boro, did you wanna move around the speakers?
Yeah, honestly, yeah. So you wanted to go to Ken Rocket?
Yeah. Ken Rocket had his hand up first, and we can go to
Yeah,
WBF.
and when we get a chance, I would like to introduce the rest of my team. We got Dane on the SquidGrow account, and we got my CFO RW as well.
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing?
Yo, doing well, man. Happy to be up here with you guys.
Yeah, good, man. Happy to see you, Islam.
Yeah, man. All right, Ken Rocket, what you got to talk about?
Yo, bro, I don't mean to steal the shine from Shibtoshi.
Yo, is that okay? Cool. Let's go to WB real quick, and then you can introduce your team. What's up, WB? I know you're WB. You're a big fan.
A big fan of what? Borovik.
You said weren't you early in Shib?
No, I wasn't early in Ship, but I have a lot of friends in Ship, and Shiptoshi is one of them. How you been, Shiptoshi?
Hey, I'm doing well, my friend. Nice to talk to you again. I know it's been a couple weeks since we last spoke. How's life treating you?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've been sitting with these guys on Spaces lately, so it wasn't good actually. I was gonna ask you, did you launch on Ethereum yet?
Yeah, we're live on Ethereum. Our ILO went live at the very end of last month. We raised 540 Ethereum, so a little over $1 million, and 100% of that went to the liquidity on our ETH chain.
Yeah. So listen, guys. For those who doesn't know Shiptoshi, he's not the person that will make a project to benefit from it. Um, I personally, if I'm going to invest in SquidGrow, it's because of him. Uh, you will not see any shady liquidity manipulation with Shiptoshi. You will not see any um, team tokens selling or whatever because. Did you introduce yourself, Shiptoshi?
Yeah, I did introduce myself. We got into the origin story a little bit. I didn't want to hog the mic with that because I can be very long-winded, but yeah, we did touch on that.
Yeah, so they know your position in the market.
Yeah, correct. Yes.
Yeah, so it's basically the guy doesn't need the money. He's just here for the space. He's just trying to do something good for his community. Squid Grow community is a very hyped community. Actually, they're very active. I've seen them in action, and yeah, let's. I only hope them the best.
That's dope.
Yeah, I
So
appreciate that, WB. Yeah, appreciate that.
yeah, thanks, man. Let's pass the mic to TJ Type Price.
How's it going?
What's
How's it
going
going,
on?
buddy?
What's going on?
Not too much. So, yeah, I would say I was not early in Doge or Shib and all that stuff, but like, well, first I want to learn more about your project, and then I kind of want to get your opinion on something else.
Yeah,
Okay,
sure
Because
thing.
I'm
really quickly. Let's transition into that right now. Then, so we had a little backstory on Shiptoshi and where he comes from. So tell us a little bit about the origin of SquidGrow, what made you want to start it, and what it's all about.
Yeah, sure thing. So, as I said previously, we launched June of last year, and the reasoning for launching SquidGrow was obviously I have friends that are in crypto, and we have our own little personal crypto group, and a lot of my friends have been affected by these rugs and these malicious scammers. And one of my best friends, the Huntsman, who's actually listening now, mentioned to me one day, why not do your own project? And it wasn't something that I was very interested in. This was 21, I believe. But, as more and more of my friends and family members started, jumping into crypto and, facing rug pulls and these scammers in this space, I started playing around with the idea. So in November of 21, I started looking into how to code a smart contract. So I took some classes. I failed miserably at it, so I outsourced my contract coding from a dev that I found on Code Mentor. So in November of 21, he coded the SquidGrow contract. How I came up with the name was at the time Squid Games, the TV show, was very popular, and I was also a whale in Evergrow coin, which is on the BSC network. It was two positives in the world at the time, one from crypto and one from real world. So I kind of joined the names together. Unfortunately, I'm not a dev, so trying to understand how, a smart contract works and trying to figure out how to deploy it, I was a little late to the races. There was another scam token that ended up launching. Obviously, we didn't know it was a scam at the time, but Squid Games, the notorious token, launched. So we decided to shelf the idea completely. And as time kind of went on, more and more of my friends started, experiencing scams and rugs. So we circled back to the idea, and it was around this time I was a whale in another project in a whale room that I was introduced to my CFO, RW, who was in the same project. And we just kind of started talking in DMs about, the issues that this space is facing with these scams. And it's not like it used to be. Like in the older days, the scams were around, but it wasn't so prominent. It wasn't so like every day. So we started talking about and playing around with the idea of doing our own project. So I told him, look, I've got some names, I've got some contracts, I've never deployed any of them. So, it's kind of a learning curve, but ultimately we decided to assemble a team and deploy the contracts. Our first deployment for SquidGrow was actually June 17th, and I deployed the contract wrong. I deployed it with the BSC router for Pancake and the Uniroute router as well. So we essentially deployed a contract that could not be sold. So when we realized it about 5 minutes after launch, we put out an announcement to the community that we were going to relaunch the following day, June 18th. So we pulled the liquidity from the first contract, we airdropped all our holders, and it was off to the races. That's the contract that we all now are trading on currently. And my emphasis has always been on community, has always been on liquidity. We are a tax token. We are currently through the 19th, we're 1% buy tax, 10% sell tax. It will be changed after the 19th. It will go back to a 4% buy. But all of the taxes that's generated through buys and sells and transfers goes to liquidity solely. None of it's being pulled off for marketing. I market and pay for everything associated with the project, all the exchange listings that we're on, all the utility development, all the marketing comes out of my pocket completely. But we decided that we were gonna put a project out there and do things a little differently than what's been done in the space. And that was kind of the origin of SquidGrow. Very early on, we started focusing on community because community is key. And without a good, solid foundation of community, you could have, one of the best projects in space, but if nobody's talking about it, nobody knows about it, you don't have any true supporters, it's going to go nowhere.
Here's a question that I have, because I was obviously around during the 2021 crypto boom with everything, and seeing meme coins jump around left and right. BSC seemed like the place to go, right? The gas fees were super low.
Yep.
Nobody was really messing with the Ethereum change that much. Almost every project I remember was on BSC. And then obviously this time around, there's a whole different meme coin standard. It's way easier to tell when something's a rug pull, when something's a honeypot, because we got DEX tools, we got token sniffer, we got all these tools that we can use that we didn't have back then, right? So I feel like with Ethereum being like the go-to chain now for meme coins, and having the the 0 taxes and all these burning the liquidity to a contract, and doing the whole contract renouncing, those are all just standards now. I know you have the coin originally on BSC, and then now we have the Ethereum version of it. Do you plan to continue keeping the BSC one alive? And maybe this is just a general conversation, like projects that have, like Floki's another one, right? So Floki, I actually have Floki on BSC, even though they also launched on Ethereum, and I don't know what the future holds for all these BSC tokens when it seems like everyone's kind of moving away from BSC into Ethereum. Is the BSC still going to be alive? Obviously it'll be alive, but like, is it still going to be a part of the project or not?
I'm sure there's a bridge, right? You have a bridge, so you just keep liquidity on both ends.
Yeah, we have a bridge. So definitely plan on keeping BSC and Ethereum, attached at the hip. So moving forward, going to Ethereum was just the first step in the direction of awareness of the project. We do plan on bridging to other chains as well. Ethereum was just the first. So when we market and when we develop, we develop for both chains and any chain going forward. So anything we're doing on BSC, we're doing on Ethereum and vice versa. So everything on both of our chains has matching utilities, matching staking, moving forward. The difference right now, the only difference that we have between our chains right now is BSC is currently listed on, I believe, 12 exchanges, and Ethereum is not listed on any. Obviously, we have the ability to list our Ethereum coin on any exchange that we're currently on. I just did not want to open up that arbitrage too soon, because obviously you have multiple liquidity pools, multiple market caps. It can tear your chart up pretty good. And, out the gate, we listed on 2 exchanges with BSC before we were even listed on CoinMarketCap. And we continued to scale up at a relatively fast pace. We listed 5 or 6 exchanges in 1 week. And just kind of, my thought pattern on it was just trying to make it more easier accessible to the masses. On an exchange, you can purchase with a credit card, or you have an account there already, you're more familiar with it. Some people don't know how to utilize PancakeSwap and Uniswap. So, moving forward, you will start seeing Ethereum, move to different exchanges, but I did not want to open up those floodgates relatively too soon. We did raise about $1 million at a $23 million market cap valuation. So our debuting market cap was 23 million and change, and we were still able to raise $1 million, which is pretty impressive in my personal opinion. But I didn't want to add arbitrage from exchanges into the mix too soon. Obviously, there's arbitrage from the bridge. Our bridge went live roughly a week and a half, 2 weeks after ETH launched. So we did open that up. And, we did see a mass amount of people bridge from BSC to Ethereum for accountability purposes for the project. Obviously, we do have to maintain some supply. So when we debuted the bridges, we put 100 trillion tokens into the bridge, which is roughly 10%. And that's all we plan on putting into the bridge. We saw a mass influx from BSC to Ethereum. So currently, you can only bridge one way using our bridge, which is from Ethereum to BSC. To utilize the bridge from BSC to Ethereum, you would have to wait for somebody to bridge back across. We do have to keep our reserves for exchange listings and APRs for our staking contracts moving forward. We can't allow the project to completely deplete, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Let me pass the mic over to Michael. He's had his hand
And
up.
right before you do that, I want everyone to retweet the room. We only have 21 retweets, and there's 200 people in the room. It doesn't cost any money to retweet, because Elon Musk is, well, he's not the CEO anymore, supposedly, but he owns Twitter. So potentially it might cost 1 Dogecoin, 5 Dogecoin. I mean, Slum, you will never have to pay because you have so much Dogecoin. You could probably, you'll have infinite amount of retweets, but right now it's free. Doesn't cost any Dogecoin to retweet. So everyone retweet the room. It'll get more people in here.
Yes.
Yeah, let's pass the mic.
Yeah, real quick, guys. I would like to introduce my my core team before we get too far along. I'd like to bring my CMO and my CFO up, if that's okay. Just kind of introduce them.
Yeah, of course.
And let them, kind of talk about their role with the project. So with that said, Dub, would you be okay with coming up?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Thanks, Shib. I won't take too much of everyone's time. Look, my name's Ardub. Obviously, as you can hear from my voice, I'm from Australia. As Shibtoshi said earlier, we kind of crossed paths probably about 2 years ago now. This happened in a private whale group on Telegram. I've been in and out of the crypto space myself since about 2011 as well. Originally introduced to Bitcoin. Definitely not in the same caliber of whale as Shibtoshi, but definitely as interested in crypto, and that's kind of what we formed a bond over, and why we kind of led to launching SquidGrow together. So it's been a pretty incredible journey so far. Happy to be up here today with everyone. I'll leave my introduction pretty short and just pass it over to Dane, our CMO.
Thanks, Dub. Yeah, Dub is a technical analysis master. He's pretty humble about it, but that guy's a TA wizard. So I'd highly suggest giving Dub a follow if you're into that stuff. Myself, I've been in crypto since 2016. I come from a cybersecurity background, but I fell in love with the marketing side of it way back in 2020 when the dog coin started to emerge to compete with Doge, and actually brushed shoulders with Slum Doge and Floki a little bit. So we go back a little there. I worked with Veracity, BPro. Some of the projects that got me into marketing were those. Continued to move forward and kind of just got into my own marketing firm. And that's how we crossed paths, Dub and Shibtoshi and I. And I've kind of stepped out of that and gone full-time SquidGrow since then and loved every second of it.
Who's talking from SquidGrow account?
This is Dane Crypto Blast. I actually have my tag.
Yeah.
What's up, B? What's up, Debbie?
What's up? How you been, bro?
Good, man. Good to see you again.
Yeah, a big shout out to MMKK boys. everyone.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of them in the house right now.
Yeah, MMKK is actually one of my favorite whale rooms.
Yeah,
It's one of the few that I actually have pinned in my PG, so I'm in there quite frequently. We got some heavy hitters in there as well.
yeah. Big shout out to everyone. Big kid too.
Cool. And is there anybody else on the team you want to shed light on?
For the time being, we just have the main core team up here,
Okay.
which is Dub and Dane. I don't see any of. I'm sure they're on here somewhere, but I don't see them currently.
Okay, cool. So let's pass the mic over to Michael. What's up, man?
Hey guys, how are you doing today?
Hey, how's it going, Mike?
Good, pretty
Hey,
good.
not too bad. Good to see there's some Australian representation on your team. I'm in Sydney, and it's always good to see. Feel like the Aussies are always left out of the crypto world, so good to see you have an Australian there.
Yeah, Dub's a
I
solid
wanted
guy.
to ask about the supply. I was reading your white paper, and it looks like is it 1 quadrillion across both chains, or is it 1 quadrillion per chain?
So
BSC?
it's 1 quadrillion on both chains. Each chain has its own liquidity. So at the time of our ILO raise, we had $1 million on BSC. So we were going after raising $1 million, which we achieved. And ETH has its own liquidity. The both chains are attached by a bridge.
Gotcha.
So there is obviously total supply, and then you factor in circulating supply into that.
Yeah, I was looking at your on page 16 of your white paper, well, PDF page 17, but numbered page 16. It looks like, because I was looking at it, it has total supply BSC written 3 times, and then there's 2 different numbers there. It might just be a typo on the white paper, but I was looking at that. Someone may want to look at that.
So I think what you're looking at is, so we have our total supply, and then we actually have our circulating supply posted on there. And we pulled that number from CoinMarketCap when we got ranked and verified.
Gotcha.
So that's what they deemed our circulating supply to be. So that's what
It just
we put
says
on.
total supply 3 times, so my guess is one of those is supposed to say circulating supply or.
That's actually been updated. Yeah, so
okay.
it did say it 3 times, but it's actually meant to say like circulating supply, total
I figured
supply.
as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just clicked the link from the website and the only other thing is, like, maybe on the website update it to 2 quadrillion or quadrillion. But I was really interested to actually hear about the absorption model. I think that's one of the unique things about SquidGrow is the ability for for you guys to absorb and grow through acquisitions of other projects when teams get run down or don't want to maintain it anymore. Could you talk a little bit about what sort of brought you to this model and how that works? And perhaps there are some teams on the call right now or on the space right now that might be interested in working with y'all.
Yeah, 100%. So just circling back to the white paper and the website, we did just recently update our website and rebranding. So it is a work in progress. We did have our white paper updated. It appears that it has not been pushed through to the actual site yet. But with that being said, my CMO wrote a great article on our SAM model. So I'm actually going to allow him to touch on that. Dane?
Yeah, so one of the problems with the bear market is that there are so many great projects out there and just not enough liquidity and capital go around. So unfortunately, a lot of times the passion for these projects that leaders have just gets rained on by the nature of the macro. So we figured it'd be a good idea to kind of offer the service to those types of projects that are in dire straits and don't want to rug pull or hurt their investors. So essentially it gives them an out. They're able to come to us and we go over logistics and how it works. And there's a lot of details to get into there. For those who are listening who might be interested, you can DM us anytime. But basically, we merged this project into SquidGrow, and our new contract actually allows that to happen in a really efficient manner without hurting our tokenomics whatsoever. So it's literally built into the contract to have that happen. Obviously, in a perfect world, we'd love to have the projects be similar in size. It's much easier when you have a better liquidity as well, because you're going to get a better dollar to SquidGrow amount given to you when you come into SquidGrow. But essentially, it looks like what we did for Versa Finance, our project that we've done it for so far, which was a very strong utility company we absorbed, which had just kind of fallen victim to the macro. They became part of SquidGrow, so any of the holders that were there essentially just had SquidGrow tokens airdrop to them. And rather than the project rug pulling liquidity, it just sort of became part of SquidGrow, and we gained a bunch of holders and community in the process. So we look to do that going forward to both big and small projects. and it is a pretty cool thing that we've kind of not patented, but created, and looking forward to getting more on board in the future for sure.
Yeah, so kind of just a little more detail on how it worked with Versa. So Versa approached us, and they were dealing with, project issues. And so essentially how it worked with Versa is Versa removed their liquidity from their project. Obviously, they announced it to their community. They put a pin post out there of what was going on. They removed their liquidity. They did a purchase on our chart, accumulating those tokens. Those tokens were then sent to the deployer and mass airdrop to their community, making them SquidGrow holders. Now, there is some math that goes into this. Obviously, we have to run analytics. And we prefer to do it obviously in the beginning stages. So we run analytics on the opposing project based on liquidity ratio and dollar value of what their community holds. And we are able to give the team, essentially the dollar amount that their community is going to retain. Obviously, stronger liquidity is ideal. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head for Versa. They did come out pretty good on dollar retention. They kept almost 100% of their dollar value. There has been projects that we have spoken to that had lesser liquidity, and it didn't make sense to move forward with absorbing them because their community would be losing too much dollar amount on their actual holdings. But because the liquidity is used to purchase tokens on the chart, there is the analytics we have to run. And going off of that buy on the chart and the amount of tokens that are accumulated, we are able to, through math, give the community an idea of, if you hold $100 in this particular token, you're going to retain $100 of that value, or $90, or whatever it might be. Some projects we've spoken to would actually come out ahead. There was one project that was going to actually be getting 180 for every $100 that they had in this particular project. They would have actually gained $80, so they would have had $180 in value. Unfortunately, it didn't work for that particular project because the liquidity was burned. And some of the things that we look for when we are acquiring projects is liquidity that is unlocking in a reasonable amount of time, or that is currently unlocked. When dealing with projects that have burnt liquidity, it's really hard to extract that liquidity. You essentially have to accumulate a mass amount of tokens and do a sell on the chart to try to drain that liquidity. Also, contracts that are renounced makes it a little difficult with acquisition because you can't really ever turn that contract off if it's renounced. You can drain the liquidity, but people can still buy and trade it. So ideally, when we are looking to acquire projects, we want a dev team that has not renounced the contract and has not burnt the liquidity, and also has not locked the liquidity for an indefinite amount of time.
Also, Shib, I would just say that not only are we looking for projects in dire straits, but we actually are in the market for projects that have brand power. So it is both smaller projects that are kind of on their way down, but also projects that have strength to them. So either one can work. It's just that the things that Shib mentioned are very important. But I think it's pretty cool because it really gives life to the name SquidGrow. It's almost like the tentacles of a squid, the different facets of our utilities, because there are many, and this is one of them. And it actually, when it absorbs a project, the project actually SquidGrows. So I find that pretty cool.
One other really quick question for you. Oh, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
I was asking, just looking at your transaction taxes, have you all considered increasing the transfer transaction tax? Because right now there's almost a 4% incentive for someone to engage in private transfers outside of the liquidity pool structure, because they would save essentially that 4% if they were to find someone else. Have you thought about rationalizing those to bring the transfer to 16, so at least it would be equal to what would happen if someone were to buy and sell into the pool? That way, you give some incentive for the LPs that are holding this, that there's not an incentive essentially to create an external market to allow for the transfer, the buying and selling of these tokens through a transfer mechanism versus through a traditional liquidity pool.
So with our ETH contract, we have the ability to set that parameter, but unfortunately with our BSC contract, our transfer taxes are pegged to our sell tax. There's not a way for me to change that. So we just try to keep it uniform across both chains. With the BSC contract, there's not much that I can do with that as it's pegged to our sell tax. So unfortunately, I could make it a variant between both chains,
But then they would just bridge it across and
exactly. So unfortunately, in regards to that, we are kind of stuck with the parameters that have been laid forth with the BSC contract. It's kind of just set in stone.
Perfect.
So
thank you.
Yeah. So we got some hands up in the room, but before I get to the hands, what's up, Bad Anthony, man? Talk to me, bro. Look at Bad Anthony over here, looking bad, looking bad to the bone over here. With his
come on, Anthony, don't be shy. Come on, bud.
Oh damn! What's up, guys?
You got called out. What's up, bud?
He's a bad man. Bad man. Bad Anthony, talk to me, man. Like, how did you find out about SquidGrow? How did you discover Shiptoshi? He's doing something. All right, well, let's get to the hands in the room then. Pass the mic over to TJ Ty Price.
Yeah, so I have a couple things. I can go over the other things later because there's other hands up. I think that been up further than mine. But can you guys share the exact contract and then pin it at the top so everybody's not buying no scam tokens?
Oh yeah. For anybody that's looking for it right now, both our contracts are on CMC. Don't do anything else other than what you see there. We'll get that up there.
Let's pin it to the top here. Borovik, I don't know if you want to do it or Shiptoshi can do it.
Yeah. Either one of us could pin to the top.
I'll shoot you our CMC link. If you want to do that, I don't have
the best way to do it is if you want to just comment on the if you just want to reply to the Spaces link with and then I could pin that tweet if you want to reply to it.
All right, working on it right now.
No futuristic. Is that how you pronounce
it? All right, just responded.
Yeah, I'll pin it right now. But what's up, No Futuristic? My one of my favorite Avagachis.
Hey, Bad Anthony, you may want to mute. There's a lot of background noise coming from your mic.
Or is that Shib? It might be you, Shib.
No, it's Bad Anthony.
Okay, cool. I can't tell on Spaces.
Bad Anthony has bad reception.
Borovik.
Hey. Hi.
Hold on, I'm trying to mute him.
Well, I muted him. Yeah,
I've been trying to every time he just unmutes. Every time I mute him, he unmutes.
Okay. Yeah, Fitty usually does this.
I just shot him a message.
Okay. No Futuristic.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Before you go to No Futuristic, Shiptoshi, you said you commented. Let me see. I don't even see the comment.
I see it.
I can pin.
I see it. I just pinned it. Right,
I just pinned it too.
Good. Double pin just in case.
Right. Go ahead, Futuristic.
Hey, what's up, guys? I just want to say a couple things. One, shout out to you guys. It's cool to be able to actually sit in a room with people. We all talk about and theorize how it would be to have your bag blow up and what you would do, but to actually see people do it and they have legit receipts. It's great to be able to get your perspective. The second thing I want to ask was for the SquidGrow account. As founders, you guys have your coin, you're launching it. In this current attention economy meta that we see kind of on crypto, has that affected your marketing plans whatsoever? Does any of this kind of play into how you approach it? And I guess my last question is, if you had to settle your differences with another founder, what form of combat would you choose?
That's hilarious.
Shib, you want me to take that one?
Yeah, go ahead, bud. I mean, he touched on marketing, so let's go ahead and touch on that.
Sure. So, of course, the macro affects marketing, and it's one of the benefits of SquidGrow compared to other projects is that we don't have to depend on volume. whereas a lot of other projects do. And of course, when the macro dries up, that puts them in a very weak and budgeted position. That's not the case with us, but at the same time, we understand that if we just spend, it's carelessly, it's not going to have exactly the same ROI as if we had been spending in the middle of 2021 or 2017. Entirely different ballgame. So a lot of the times with marketing, it's more so about community engagement. It's more so about growing our initial grassroots movement, which is basically what we did for this entire last year on Binance Smart Chain through the middle of the FTX crisis and that bear market capitulation summer. It certainly wasn't easy, and a lot of times Shibtoshi would roll out big cash on some heavy hitting moves and not see the type of investment return that you would want with marketing. So with crypto marketing, it's always changing, and you kind of have to roll with the punches. Sometimes callers and influencers work, other times they don't. Sometimes people like to get listed on exchanges. Other times it's meaningless, and you're just throwing money away and opening yourself up for arbitrage and manipulation with bots. So it's something that we're always talking together on. And honestly, I look at marketing as a very vast word. A lot of people think they got it figured out, but no one really does, because you have to consistently change your approach. And we have a lot of people on our team handling different fundamentals aspects of marketing, because that can be anything from the white paper, like someone mentioned, that needs to be updated, that's putting out an image to people, to the exchanges you get listed on, to how your tax is looking. All these things, how you're presenting yourself are part of marketing. So it's a very umbrella term, but a lot of people are just kind of coasting right now, whereas we actually are putting out a pretty solid effort on marketing. So I think that's a good fundamental differentiator between SquidGrow and other projects, is that we've got our foot on the pedal, while some of these other projects that were really pushing hard in 2021 are sort of just coasting now. We're not. We do have our foot on the gas, especially as we're bridging into ETH and breaking into this new market. So yeah, marketing is a fun thing, but you've got to be willing to look at the reality of it. And the reality of it right now is it's oftentimes just keeping you where you're at is a good thing, rather than pushing forward and hoping for 10x's overnight, which is potentially a whole different situation.
Yeah. And then Dane, how would you go ahead?
I was going to say, Dane, touch on some of the things that we have been doing recently as far as our marketing.
Oh man, there's so much. So just in the past month, we've had Daniel Moncada from Breaking Bad join us. We've had shout outs and videos from Wendy O. We've had Brian Evans, the founder of Next Crypto Gym, come on board as an ambassador. Great guy, extremely well connected. And we're actually being featured as basically the main sponsor on that TV show, the first ever mainstream crypto TV show. So that'll be neat. We'll have commercials. We'll be burnt into that show. The marketing really, it hasn't stopped, from contests like the World Tour that we've been doing, which is basically, if you look at SquidGrow World Tour hashtag, you'll see people from all over the world in the past 2 weeks that have taken pictures of their environments or themselves with the SquidGrow logo out in the wild. So we do lots of engaging things like that. We're always looking at outside the box ideas like the TV show, but I think we've hit the influencers pretty hard, I would say, hey, Shib. So, going forward, we're looking into partnerships, of course, more exchanges. But when it comes to exchanges, we look at them as you want to launch them at the right time. And there's things to consider, like Shibtoshi spoke on, with arbitrage and what supply you put on there. So we're very conscientious of the things that we choose to do from a marketing perspective. But we certainly have not been sleeping when it comes to that. We've been putting out output like crazy week after week.
And then one of you guys could answer this. How would you settle your differences with another co-founder?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to take that with another co-founder. So it's actually a situation that we dealt with very early on in the project. I will not name him because it's not necessary, but we had a co-founder of the project early on that was essentially abusing his position. And in full transparency, what this former team member was doing was, obviously he was privileged to inside information in regards to buybacks that I was doing on the chart, and he was swing trading his team allocated tokens because in the early days they were not vested. And it was in the very early days when we were struggling to crack 4 million market cap. We kept dropping back down to about 1.5 million or so, and started deep diving into what was actually going on. And at the time, we had 5 volume bots we were running. Those addresses were pinned in posts in the main community for transparency reasons. And we were noticing that every time one of the volume bots would fire, there would be another sell for the equal dollar amount in WBNB, because our volume bots were selling for WBNB to generate volume and then would buy back in WBNB. So diving into that a little further, I started checking the team addresses, and I discovered that one of the founding members was tearing our chart up, going against everything that we preached in our AMAs and to our community that we stood for. So in that particular situation, when I discovered it, I talked to him directly in the core team chat about what was going on, and I asked him to hold a video AMA in our whale community, because we do have a whale room, and hold himself to accountable, make himself accountable for his actions. So we did a VC in the whale room, and he, told the whales essentially what it was he was doing. The remainder of the team allocations that he held, he transferred them back to the treasury, which eventually went into the staking contracts to be rewarded to the community. But in regards to your question, obviously we have a way that we would ideally love to handle a situation like that, which is with respect and dignity. And that particular situation was handled the best that I think it could have. I guess to answer your question, I don't put people on the team that I think would be a risk to the project. Nobody in our project with authority, I would think would do anything malicious to the project. If something like that was to ever come about, we do, aim to handle it with respect and dignity, but also with transparency to the community. Like I spoke on previously, former team member went into the whale room, held himself accountable. Unfortunately, he tucked tail out of the TG group before he could do the same thing for the main community. So we had to address that publicly to them without him around to take questions. But we would handle it transparently and to the best of our abilities.
That's a good answer right there, man.
Yeah, I mean, feel like that's probably the best you can do.
And if I didn't hit the nail on the head with that response, I'll be happy to go into more detail.
No, I think you killed it. I feel like that's probably the best way to go about something like that whenever it arises. Honestly, transparency with the community is the most important thing. I feel like any leader can do. So Coco has his hand up. Go ahead, bro.
Yo, I just wanted to ask, like, what utility are you guys working on adding, and like, what's next for SquidGrow?
I'm very happy that you touched on that, because I was waiting for my end to get into that. So I will allow Dane to touch on this, and I'll go a little more in detail. About what we're doing, our partnerships, and what we have coming out.
Cut me off at any point, Shib. I'm on a couple cups of coffee here, so my mind's going 100 miles per hour, and I'll probably skip over something. But yeah, so first things first, with what we have left after finally getting onto ETH and ironing out a lot of the kinks there with that process, which is obviously a challenging one with a project that has substantial value to it like ours. Now we can move forward and focus on these utilities. The one that we're really excited about in the more near future is going to be our NFT marketplace. That's going to be a pretty full-featured marketplace that we're looking to compete with OpenSea and have it be a standalone entity with an entirely different branding than SquidGrow. That will have obviously a lot of different benefits for our project that I'll let Ship get into, but we've partnered with Mike S. Miller from DC for these NFTs. Pretty heavy hitter. He's going to be doing our first collection. And with these NFTs, they'll actually be giving away other blue chip NFTs if you mint an ultra rare. I'll let Shib touch on that more. But jumping forward to our next utility, which is our flagship utility, that would be SGX. And that's going to be our full-featured decentralized perpetual exchange. That's being built now. And this is going to be something that we really put a lot into. One of the best things that we can boast about with that is that all the liquidity will be basically provided for from Shibtoshi. So when it comes to things like GMX and other exchanges on this level that have had liquidity issues, that will not be one for us. And what will be cool with that for SquidGrow holders is that 25% of the fees of that exchange will be going back into our chart as buybacks and liquidity if necessary. So that's going to be a massive one for us. Those are the two things on the agenda.
It's actually fees and profits that are generated on there. It's not just limited to fees. So it's
Correct.
for example, if somebody unfortunately jumps onto our perp exchange and gets liquidated for 50 grand, 25% of that 50 grand with the fees associated with it will go into our chart. To just give you an example for mathematical reasons, let's say we generate 100 BNB profit, right? With fees and profit. 50%, or excuse me, 50 of those BNBs, 50% of that BNB, 50 BNB, goes into the chart as a buy. The tokens are then accumulated and then matched with the remaining 50 BNB to make a liquidity pair. So what we're doing is we are pumping our chart and also stiffening our liquidity. This goes back to our focus on liquidity. Now, majority of everything generated on our perpetual exchange is going to go to liquidity on the exchange to, give us, the thickest liquidity possible, but 25% will go back to pumping the chart and also building our liquidity foundation stronger. And to kind of circle back to our NFTs, I got to give Mike Miller his credit. He's DC, Marvel, and Game of Thrones illustrator, and he has made 10,000 of our NFTs. They're very similar to my PFP here on Twitter. My PFP is an example of one of our ultra rares. My particular PFP will not be mintable to the mainstream. This is going to be my personal. But to give you an idea, our ultra rare NFTs are pictured holding a Polaroid picture. And in that Polaroid picture, there will be blue chip NFTs. I spent about $300,000 to pick up 100 blue chip NFTs, such as Mutant Apes, Doodles, Kennel Clubs, Metaverse Land, Goblins. I mean, the list goes on. Our NFTs can be found in our treasury. If you want to plug our treasury wallet into either OpenSea or that's actually probably the best place to do it. Plug our treasury wallet into OpenSea. You can see our NFT collections. Obviously, we have been dusted substantially, but the blue chips are the ones that we have purchased. And so if you mint one of our ultra rare NFTs and it's holding a Polaroid picture, you gain ownership of the NFT that is being pictured as well. Now, this is not an automatic process. You do either have to reach out to us or we have to just track the blockchain to send you that NFT, but it will be going to the same address that mints the NFT. So we won't, if you mint one of our NFTs on one address and you want it sent somewhere else, it's not going to work like that. We have to demonstrate ownership of our NFT, and that is the address that the airdrop will occur. But you will potentially, if you mint one of our ultra rares, you could essentially gain ownership of one of the Mutant Apes that we have, or Doodles, or Kennel Club. So it's something different that I'm doing to try to stand out above the rest. Just one of the little unique things that we are doing. We have some more things in the works. We're not going to touch base on that now, but another aspect to our NFTs when they actually do go live, we do offer staking. Currently, our APRs are at 100% through July 4th, and they will be scaled down to a sustainable manner. But you can stake your NFT in our staking contracts, assuming that you are already staking SquidGrow tokens to boost your rewards a little higher. We have maintained very high APRs for the better half of a year on BSC, and we are now starting to scale those down to make them a little more sustainable. We do have a staking tax in our contracts. It is a 2% in, 2% out, and a 6% harvest tax. Now, these fees will be scaled down with our APR. So when our APR comes down, we will adjust our taxes on that. And the taxes go towards sustainability of the contract. So everything that's generated from this tax goes back into the staking contract to help with sustainability.
Oh, that's dope, man. That's really dope. So essentially, if somebody mints your NFT, they get 2 NFTs for the mint of 1, right?
Correct. Yes. So, we picked up at the time. I wish I would have waited a couple weeks, because a couple weeks later the market dropped, and I could have, for the same money, bought double the amount. But at the time of purchase, the most expensive NFT that I purchased was one of the Mutant Apes, about $27,000 or so. Nothing crazy, but it is something unique and cool, that we are doing. I know Wendy had a lot to say about that. Brian Evans, something unique that we're trying to do. There is, a lot of competition out here, and there's a lot of room thrive at the top. You don't have to go cutthroat and topple another project. There's enough room for all of us to eat and maintain at the top ranks. But we're just trying to do things a little differently and give some incentives to our community where we can.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think that's really, really dope, honestly. I see TJ Type Price with his hand up.
Yeah, so here's a little bit of a hard-hitting question with everything that we see in the macro environment of crypto. So we've seen XRP have an issue, then it had hard price discovery situations where it didn't really do as well. Now there's a whole bunch of other different projects that are now kind of facing what XRP is facing. So like, what are your thoughts around that? Like, how's everything set up? And then how can people kind of realize it could be a long-term play without any sort of spontaneous issues that cause huge red candles before other people might hear about it?
Yeah, perfect question. So I'll touch base on our registration. So we're an LLC. We're registered in St. Vincent's and the Grenadines. So currently we're out of the reach of the U.S. If something was to come about, I would just change the registration of the company. But there is nothing that we are doing that I think we could get slapped with. We're not a USA based company. We are registered out of country. But it is very difficult because there is no black and white on what they are trying to regulate, what puts you in that category. So we're just kind of rolling with the punches as we go through, because there's not been any clear, anything laid out clearly of what would facilitate an issue with a project or not. So we're just kind of rolling with the punches, but we are an LLC in St. Vincent's and the Grenadines. So for now, according to legals, we're out of the reach of the jurisdiction.
I would also add too, Ship, that we have 57% of our supply staked already on ETH and close to 20 on BSC still. So a lot of our holders look at SquidGrow as a long-term option. And for the ones that have been around hanging out in the community, they've seen firsthand Shiptoshi in that community day in and day out, answering every single DM, putting in insane work hours into the project. SquidGrow is synonymous with Shiptoshi. So if you're a fan of SquidGrow or you're a fan of Shiptoshi and vice versa. I think the long term, to answer that aspect of your question, is trust. When you hang around SquidGrow, you start to get that feeling that this is a team that really cares about its investor. And as Slum mentioned in the beginning, this is not a project that Shiptoshi is doing to make a quick buck. He's doing it to give back to the space, which gave so much to him. And it's a vision that all of us share. And once you see that firsthand, you realize you're a part of something different with the power to do a lot of things that other projects aren't capable of, simply because we have Shiptoshi and we have a community that reflects and spreads that message very vigorously.
Right. And I also feel like adding on to that too, like if you think about it, I'm sure a lot of people probably say things like, man, Shiptoshi is a crypto billionaire. Why the fuck is he doing this? If I was a billionaire, I'd be off on an island somewhere drinking margaritas by a fucking beach with some pretty women around. You know what I mean? Like why is he over here stressing over a project and trying to make it successful? I mean, trying to continue to make it successful when he can literally be anywhere in the world just enjoying his life, kicking back somewhere, right? So the fact that you do have this project, the fact that you have been continuously, innovating and making it better and better and better, and people believe in you and trust in you, and with the thriving community that you do have, like it makes sense, right? It makes sense that you are giving back to the community because you've gotten so much out of crypto, right?
Correct. So when we launched SquidGrow, originally it was to give my friends and my family a safe place to invest their money. Obviously, that's expanded to the community. So we, obviously, I would love to see our chart up a lot more than what it currently is. I would love to see us 100 mil plus, $500 million. But I have always said this is a slow and steady project. Slow and steady. This is a game of chess. I would love a catalyst, and we are aware of a couple scenarios that could potentially, give us that catalyst. The market is not where it needs to be right now for those moves, but this is kind of a longer term hold, and to kind of, give back to the community while we are currently building, because that's our mission right now, is building awareness of the project. That's why we're doing things like the TV stuff with the next crypto gym and the influencers and just spreading the message and spreading awareness. But in this market, we are taking this time to build and develop, and that's going to come into play when the market starts turning back around, because we're already going to be a somewhat established project that has weathered this market, and we have continued to build. And any time that we have said that we're going to do something, we see it through. So we don't do the typical roadmaps. I don't sit here and tell you, in the next couple months we're going to be dropping the NFT marketplace, or we're going to do X, Y, or Z. A lot of the times with our exchange listings, for example, we didn't give the community any heads up that was even coming. We just dropped it on them the day of launch. We live by the motto, under promise, over deliver, and my actions will speak for themselves. So words are cheap. You can take my word at face value, or you can watch from afar, or you can watch directly within the community, but you will see, time and time again, that what I publicly speak on and I tell my community that I'm going to do, I do see it through. So
I love that. Yeah, I love the way you worded it, that you don't overpromise and that you actually deliver. But when you do deliver, you don't, you're not going to pre-announce it. You just make it happen.
Well, that's some of the problems in this space, man. I've been in a lot of great projects that, they kind of very early on shot themselves in the foot. They said they were going to do X, Y, and Z, and that date and time comes, and there's a delay. Okay, so the first time you experience a delay like that when you spoke on something publicly, the majority of the community will understand that some things are out of your control. But if it happens again, you start losing trust within that community. And once you lose that trust, it's all downhill from there. So that's why we adopt the under promise, over deliver. As things start coming closer to dropping and going live, we start speaking on it. Like the first time that we publicly spoke on SGX was wrapping up. It was just going into audit. And then within the audit, we decided we wanted to make some changes to it, add some features to it. So we pulled it from the audit. We did not give a timeline or a date on that. But, generally, as we start getting closer to things developing and being ready, we start speaking on it. But, I'm not telling you, I don't publicly speak on some of the things that we are currently developing in the background, because there's a lot of unknowns, right? Devs can get sick, or you can run into coding issues, or whatever it might be, right? You don't ever want to try to mislead your community. You want to be transparent and open and only speak on things that you can somewhat control. If I have a utility that's ready to go, I can say to my community, hey, we've done this. Now it's a matter of me pushing the go button, firing off the rockets, because I possess it. It's ready. It's not under development. It's in hand, essentially.
No, that's dope, man, and I feel like everybody can really appreciate that. I want to open it up to the room too. If anybody has any more questions for Shibtoshi or the SquidGrow account, this would be a perfect time.
Yeah, honestly, they're celebrating their first birthday right now, which so everyone, before you speak, say happy birthday.
Happy birthday to
Happy birthday,
you.
boys.
Happy Father's Day. You guys are
Happy
Happy
birthday to you.
Happy
birthday,
dear
Squid.
Oh man, I hear the dogs in the background.
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, thanks for that, guys. Yeah, I mean, the first year's blown by, and we're going through this market same as everybody else, but we are just continuing to develop and work on our utilities. That's what it's about. I will highlight the fact that I do take security very seriously. We currently have 7 CertTech audits on 7 different things that we've had audited. My audits have audits. A lot of our contracts have been audited previously, and then we just kind of topped it off with the CertTech. Last I checked, we are currently top 10 in CertTech ranking. We were top 5, but according to my BD and CertTech, they kind of restructured the way that they monitor projects. So a lot of projects fell in some points, so that put us in the 10% category. But we still, I believe we're ranked about 83, or our score is about 83. So we're still, we're still up there, better than some. But I do take security very seriously. And like I said, and I'll say it again, our audits have audits. So definitely got to be very careful when you drop a utility to the community. You want to make sure that, first of all, it's functioning properly, but there's no security risks there. So we take that very seriously.
And I appreciate that you guys have been around for a year now. You know what I mean? Like, it shows proof. Like, you're showing and proving as you go, right? You guys have been around. You guys are going to continue to be around, and I feel like that builds confidence in the community over these last 12 months. So we got two hands in the room for questions. Michael or TJ. I don't know who had their hand up first, but
Let's go to Michael first. I think he had his hand up first.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, and I appreciate the the commitment to security. I think that's the most important thing. You don't have a secure foundation, everything else is pretty much worthless at that point. I saw you had several people with security backgrounds on the team. One question I had was in this stems from a recent conversation in another space where in certain influencer individual had their Twitter account hacked into and tweeted out
I'm
various
familiar.
links.
Yeah.
My question to you would be is if your Twitter account was hacked, you place a really great emphasis on accountability and security. And let's just say your Twitter account were theoretically hacked and people lost money clicking on a nefarious link that was tweeted out from your account. Would you reimburse those users? And this is a pure hypothetical, but I'm just wondering.
Let me get into another scenario, and one that we've actually personally dealt with, and this goes back to the emphasis on security. In the very early days of the project, I think week 2, the community asked for a lottery contract to be put out. And talking to our developers at the time, it was going to take about a month and a half to develop something like that from scratch. And this goes back to why we always develop everything in-house now. But I gave the go-ahead to my developers to outsource a lottery contract. And we purchased a lottery contract that had been audited by Surtech. But the oversight on my behalf is when we took possession of that contract, we did not have it re-audited. So we were going off the original Surtech audit. Everything was fine, but it did change hands. So there was an ability for somebody to put, malicious things into the background. We didn't check that. Oversight on my behalf, my fault. So we put that out. Everything was working great. Community loved it. It was actually a day I took the family to Disneyland, and I went to finalize the lottery, and I realized I had put $130,000 in that lottery contract to be paid out to the community, and I noticed the money was gone. So I run to the hotel, get the devs on the horn, start trying to figure out what's going on. We put it out to the community. There's an issue with the lottery contract. We shut it down. Going through our investigation on that, which took, I believe, 2 days, we discovered that 12 or maybe 13 people that had interacted with the lottery contract had actually been compromised. Their wallets had been compromised. And not to get into the technicals of the breach on the lottery, there was a back door that allowed access. If you granted access to the lottery contract, it essentially allowed unlimited access for the particular token that you were approving to have access to your wallet. And when it was exploited, 12 or 13 community members' wallets were drained. We immediately got them in a room, got everybody to revoke access to the contract. I made everybody whole. So it was my fault. Incredible. It was my fault. It was an oversight on my behalf. My community should not suffer from that. Thankfully, it was limited to 12 or 13 individuals, but I gave them the option: do you want the USDT or do you want the tokens back? Some of them took USDT option, some of them took tokens back. So I did a buy. The ones that wanted their tokens back, I did a buy on the chart and redistributed those tokens to cover their losses, plus a little bonus for the hassle.
That's incredible. So it's safe to say if your Twitter were hacked, you would do the same thing, make people whole. I think that commitment is wonderful.
I would do everything in my power to do that. And I am familiar with the situation that you're talking about, and it's very, very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Those
supply chain hacks are very hard, and I think that's one of the biggest areas now. Looking at supply chain attacks is really, and the security impact of those is huge. So it sounds like you guys are on it, and I appreciate that.
And on top of that, I mean, we have some top-notch blockchain guys on our team. I mean, there's been numerous instances where there's been wallets compromised at no wrongdoing of the project, but they tried to sell like dusted tokens or interacted with malicious websites, things like that. And there has been several instances where my blockchain guys that monitor that type of stuff will flag an address. And I do own the contract, right? I'm in full control of the contract. It is a thing. I do have the ability to blacklist addresses, being transparent here. And in these particular instances of these breached addresses, we were able to blacklist an address, contact the owner of that address, and they verified that their wallet had been compromised. In some of these instances, we have been able to recover the tokens because the breacher, the hacker, did not immediately sell those tokens. They transferred them out to another wallet to be sold later, and we were able to recover those tokens when they decided to try to move it. In other instances where the tokens were immediately sold, there's not much that we can do. But rest assured, if it's directly related to a project oversight on our behalf, and we're responsible for a compromise. God forbid, we've not had anything like that since the lottery. I would completely make you whole. But we do have phenomenal blockchain guys in the background that are constantly monitoring and looking for things of that. And in several instances, we have been able to save investors. There has been some situations where at no wrongdoing of the project, some well-known community members have lost their tokens, and I've recompensated them, although I did not have the obligation to do so. So we are a little different than some projects. Most projects, if you compromise your own wallet, you're kind of SOL. We look at everything on a case-by-case basis, but absolutely, if we are responsible for it, we will make you whole. Doesn't matter the dollar amount.
So piggybacking off that real quick, when I say I fucking like SquidGrow because it has a solid fucking team, that's what the fuck I mean. You know what I mean? Like what project do you know has a leader that if something like this were to happen, some type of breach, something happened to contract, they'll go ahead and make you whole, right? If their Twitter account gets hacked and then you click on a malicious link coming from that account, they'll contact you. They'll get you in a room and they'll make sure you're okay. They'll make sure you're good. You know what I mean? Like you don't really see a lot of that in this space. So shout out to you, man. Shout out to the whole team. Like honestly, let's go to TJ real quick.
Yeah, so earlier I was talking about sending the correct address, and then also I'd like to add on top of that is, can you send your communities as well, like a Telegram or a Discord, and then pin that at the top?
Yeah, let me respond to the chat or the space with our links. Hang on one second. Actually, Dub, do you have that handy?
Yeah, sure, I can do that. Yeah.
Let's just drop our main links that has all of our socials on there.
No problem.
I also just want to add in the meantime, because I understand that with ETH side, we've been a BSC project now for basically almost a year. Now we're on ETH over the last 2 weeks. So it's a big step coming over to the big leagues over here, where Shibtoshi has his roots and Slum Doge and so many others. So with that said, we have a tax on cells, and I think it's important to touch on why that's there just real quickly. So all of that tax, which will be scaled down over time as we hit certain milestones in market cap, it'll be scaled down then to prevent people from manipulating our charts when we're smaller on certain exchanges where they use grid bots and things like that. But all of our tax goes into liquidity. And that's important because it allows us to establish higher floors as we go up in market cap, because it'll keep our ratio healthy. Many times when projects fail, especially in pretty much any altcoin, it's because they experience massive face-melting pumps. And then as soon as those early whales sell off, especially with 0% tax tokens, it's nothing but downhill from there, and basically a giant correction, and just hoping that they can kind of come back up some point again in the future. It's very difficult to do. So our thought process is we scale down the taxes on over time, but in the meantime, all that tax coming in from the sales and buys and transfers will go directly into our liquidity pool. None of it goes to the project's marketing. None of it goes to Shibtoshi. There's nothing shady about it. You can see all of it on chain. And I think that's kind of a flex, because when you see tax, especially people that are used to ETH, you automatically assume, oh, there's something weird going on. But in our case, it's a very unique thing, because all of our tax since inception has gone entirely to liquidity. And this is important for those who understand, because it allows people to take profits without damaging the chart. And that is a key thing for surviving the bear market. But yes, over time, especially as we dive into tier 1 exchanges in the future, we will be reducing that tax. Very similar to how Floki did, Slum. So for those that were out there that were kind of turned off by that, I just wanted to touch on that real quickly, just to make sure you understood why it is there.
Yeah, I'm glad. I wanted to say real quick, that I'm glad that you touched on that, because liquidity is super important, and a lot of tokens are very illiquid, which means that the smallest amount will tank the price. So by having more liquidity, I mean, honestly, you are allowing people to exit without damaging the price, and that's massive for any token to survive.
Yeah, we currently maintain around 5% liquidity to market cap ratio. So it is on the better side. I think 4 to 10% is ideal for a project. It holds you steady enough, but still allows you to have run-ups. Obviously, the lower the liquidity to market cap ratio, you can move very quick. But once you start pumping like that, the littlest of cells start dropping you down substantially. So we've been maintaining about 5 to 8% liquidity to market cap ratios for a duration of time in our project. And my emphasis is on liquidity. I want my investors to not have to deal with a situation like I've experienced with SHIB, where if I did choose to exit my position, not only would you tank the chart, but you would drain majority of the liquidity as well. So, by having thick liquidity, it allows people to pull profits. I encourage profit pulling. I don't expect anybody to just diamond hand into, indefinite. I do encourage profit pulling. I do ask that it's done respectfully, thinking about the smaller investors, because it is, I'm sure everybody's probably bought into a project, when it's pumping, and then there's some large sells and you're immediately upside down. So, you do it, you pull profits in a manner that you're thinking about the smaller investors or the people that just invested like their last $100 into a project, and they're investing for the sole purpose to make some money so that they can exit. But when you pull in profits, think about those smaller guys. Pulling profits is an encouraged thing to do. Just do it responsibly. Think about the smaller investors and the rest of the community in the process.
Yeah, and we got Huntsman. I just put him up here on stage, man. Anything else you want to add to that?
What's up, everybody? Can you hear me all right?
Hey, what's up, Hunt?
Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Yeah, happy Father's Day as well. Just to kind of circle back, Hunt is one of my best friends, and he's actually one of the reasons why I decided to take on the endeavor of launching a project. So, hats off to him.
Yep. Well, you've done way more than I ever anticipated. If I would have known it was going to go this far, I would have bought way more at the beginning, my friend. So I love what you guys are doing. You're blessed to have such a good partner as RDub. Blessed to have a good marketer as Dane. But real quick, I'm going to get what I was going for. So hold on, buddy. 1 second, okay? All right. I got me ice cream for Father's Day. I'll be out in just a minute, bud. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, real quick. SGX. So you were talking about the fees. 25% of the total fees, 25% of the revenue going straight to the chart, split between LP and buys. I just want to give everybody a number real quick. GMX right now, they post their analytics, okay? From for 2 months, they had $112 billion worth of volume. From that, they generated $173 million in fees. Okay, that's just fees alone. That's not revenue. So imagine when SGX gets up to those numbers, 25% of those total fees, which, like I said, in 2 months was $173 million. So you can see what kind of project this is going to be. This is not a meme coin. This is not a utility coin. This is a straight crypto business we're investing in. So I just want to make that clear to everybody. It's going to be way bigger than anyone anticipates because no one's done this before. So SHIB's generosity is going to make us all some really good money. So I appreciate what you guys are doing. I'm going to get off now, but keep it up.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you jumping on here and talking. So yeah, man, happy birthday to SquidGrow. Shout out to all you guys once again. Is there anything else you want to add or want to touch on real quick before we wrap up?
I'll say some closing words. So I know one of the biggest concerns and pieces of fudge we get at SquidGrow is why Shibtoshi is doing this. I think it's important to point out again that he's a Bitcoin whale well before he was a SHIB whale. I've gotten to know Shibtoshi very well. I've spoken to him on video chats. Slumdoge met him in person the other day. He's a real dude. He's a genuine dude. A lot of people doubt who he is. That's our big source of FUD because they can't understand why he would be doing this. And I would just say, one of my favorite quotes Shib told me was that I lived that life. I partnered with the crazy guys, the Mayweathers, the Bilzerians, all the animals out there. I had those times. You can only go on so many flights, vacations before it gets kind of boring. And so it brings us back to where he's at now. This is basically he gets to leave a legacy, a positive legacy on space by doing this. And that is, I think, the big underlying passion and motivator, being able to give that opportunity back to the friends and family that he mentioned and so many others. What better form of charity than to create a massive project, the same as SHIB or bigger, that changes people's lives? Fathers out there listening right now for Father's Day, all their kids will live a better life. People in different countries that have found SHIB and SquidGrow so early will be able to change their lives from this opportunity like nothing they have other access to. So I think that is something that needs to be said because it speaks volumes for why he's doing it. And the other thing is that if Shibtoshi's a billionaire, why isn't it already a billion market cap? Well, this project was born in 2022 of June, right, a year ago, in the middle of capitulation. I bet you can count on one hand how many projects are still kicking that were born on BSC at that time. So it's unfortunate, but it's been a very brutal industry to DeFi during this time, but that hasn't stopped us. And the way I look at it is that SquidGrow just has a longer runway. Maybe that runway is filled with a bit more turmoil in the charts, and tough times to get through. When you compare that to things like SHIB and Doge and Floki that had, a 2020, 2021 start, it was like their runway was just real short. It was boom, do this, do that, marketing, we moon. SquidGrow will get that chance too. It's just that our runway is going to take us a bit longer. But to me, that just means there's a bigger plane. And when it does take off, and people come flying back into the DeFi space, as we know they will, SquidGrow is going to do everything in its power to make sure that it's front and center to all those new investors. And I think you're going to see something very special as that happens. So, yeah, that's it from me. I appreciate you guys. It's been an awesome space and a pleasure to talk to you all.
Yeah, honestly, appreciate you coming up here.
Thank you.
Didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Shibtoshi.
I was just going to say, to kind of piggyback off of that, obviously, we debuted this project in the bear market. And, some might ask, why we've done that, why not wait till the bull? We launched the project when we did so we could take that time to build our strong foundation. So when the market does turn around, we are somewhat respected and established, and we have utilities to go with that. So if we can continue on the path that we are on and develop and deliver to our community, in this market where, the masses are scared to invest their money right now because, the whole market's upside down. When the money comes back into the market, with everything that we're demonstrating at this time and building, I think it's going to be huge for us. If we can continue to deliver and grow in this market, when the bull comes back, could definitely see some big numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that projects that position themselves in bear markets, you're going to put yourself in a good position for the upcoming bull market because, I mean, it's all about cycles, right? So what you do now will, impact what happens next cycle. I mean, I remember, because I, got started in 2017, I remember so many projects were down horribly, 2018, 2019, into 2020. And yeah, like just watching what happened from, like, I mean, if you look at that COVID, the Black Swan event in March, we saw like a lot of tokens saw so many new all-time lows right there. And then like 1 year later, March 2021, it was like, oh my God, there are like multiple hundreds of X's. I'm like blue chip, on blue chips. Like I remember VeChain, like man, it was down to like 0.002 or so, like 0.2 cents or something, and then it ran up to like 30 cents, like a year later. It was so like, yeah, honestly, like like what you do now, like price might not be reflected right now because it's a bear market, but once that switch flips and it's a bull market, that's when the party really starts.
I agree with that 100%, and, not to take away from the community and the project, we've done and maintained pretty well. Our all-time high was about 52 million for about 2,000 X's. We debuted at about $30,000 market cap. So we're maintaining well. Obviously, I'd like our floor to be a little higher, but, with the market being the way that it is, sometimes it's hard to get that catalyst to really send you. But, we focus on building and development and building our liquidity in our community. When the market does flip, I think we're going to be well positioned.
Dope. Well, thank you guys so much for your time, Boro. I'm gonna pass it over to you to wrap up the space.
Yeah. So once again, thank you, Shiptoshi and Squid Games for SquidGrow.
Oh.
Caught me there. Thank you. It's easy to slip up on that. But no, thank you so much for Michael. Did you have your hand up? I just saw
Yeah,
it
I was
come
just
up
going
real
to say
quick. Did
real
you have
quick,
one final
Gene.
question?
Just a real quick comment. I went to my local grocery store lately, and I noticed all the squidding pasta was gone, and all the calamari was selling out. So I think you guys must be having a run-on effect with anything squid related.
Yeah, all we got to do is send Elon a squid and get him to talk about it, and we'll be golden.
Put it in a box, man. Put it in
Yep.
or put it in a Tesla and mail him the entire Tesla.
Yep. That's all it's going to take.
Yeah. So to wrap up, thank you for sponsoring the space. Appreciate you guys. Happy first birthday, and hopefully, next year we'll do this again for the second birthday.
Yeah,
and hopefully
amen
it'll
to
be a bull market.
Yeah, amen to that. Hopefully, we'll be in contact now, so hopefully we can recap and revisit some of the things at some milestones and jump on here and give an update.
All right, guys. Thank you all so much. We're wrapping up the space now, and see y'all next time.
Hey, thanks for having us, guys. Take it easy.
Cheers. Thanks, guys. See ya.